welcome to another new episode of Learning Simplified. In this tutorial, in the almost final part of this whole tutorial on WordPress, we are going to customize the WordPress widget part that we had created earlier. So this is what we are going to do in this tutorial. Stay tuned. In the very first case, in this footer section, we can see that this is the code so far that we had built earlier. We had practically used no such kind of bootstrap elements here in this particular case. So in the first place, all we are going to do, we will be making usage of some default bootstrap classes like this one. This will be the container class. We'll be making usage of this div class container. Then we will be creating the row. We'll just see what happens if we use all those bootstrap default classes. We won't be customizing anything practically. We are just about to implement some bootstrap default classes here. We have already implemented this container, then we have implemented this row, and in the next case we will be implementing call lg12. Let's intend it a little bit. Here it goes. Now if we press Ctrl S and head back to our project and reload, we can see that everything is now synchronized for this widget part that we had created. Now if we just inspect our element and if we click here, we can see that there it goes, div class, row, container, and all we can see that the max width is 1140 pixels. So everything is now contained within this definite container width right over here. And if instead of it we had used here this container fluid, press Ctrl S, reload, and you can see that this would be the result. This container is now practically taking up the device width right over here. Inspect this element, click here. This is the container fluid, and you can see that the width is 100%. There it goes, and everything as usual, this padding right, padding left, margin right, everything. Now we will be using practically the container here as usual. Press Ctrl S. We will be working with this container here, and in the next case all we are going to do, we are going to use our customized container with some definite background color. Like if we use here this widget holder and copy this class name from here, get back to custom style sheet.css, or say we are using a specific background like this one, this yellow colored background here, view, toggle word wrap, then everything will be synchronized under this single vertical scroller here. Press Ctrl S, head back to your project and reload. Okay, now and we can see that the container gets now this yellow colored background as we had used this individual widget holder class right over here. Now in the next case, all we need to do, we need to wrap up our elements into some specific div elements with proper classes and customize them accordingly. And here all we can do, we can use some several classes along with these things, like we may wrap up all these elements like this h1 tag, this dynamic sidebar registration or WP footer, each and every, all those sort of things right over here. So all we can do, we may wrap them up with a definite class here like this one. Let's put it a little bit of intended div class, and we are naming it as widgeting segments. Now we have done up to this far. Let's head back to custom style sheet.css, and now let's customize the same class that we have created here, like this widgeting segments. All we are going to do, we are first of all, let's check whether they are working or not, like we are making usage of it. Head back, reload, and you can see that this will be the result. So we may make usage of some kind of margin properties right over here, like this margin top. If we put a margin top here for say 1 rem, and another thing, let's remove this background color here. We don't need to provide any kind of background color. Press Ctrl S, get back and reload, and you can see that this will be the result. So we have segregated this individual footer segment from the loop post formats, those we had created earlier. And we may enhance this margin a little bit, like instead of this 1 rem, we may make usage of this 2 rem right over here. So there it goes. Now let's press Ctrl Shift M. There it goes. Everything is in a fine order, and this is a 480 pix by 570 pix. So we may make a little bit of change. We will be using the lowest possible display device width, and we'll be observing our responsiveness in this particular case. So everything looks fine so far. The next thing is we need to make changes to this individual list elements, those we have created. There it goes. This is the part next that we are about to do.